有请中华人民共和国国务院副总理、第4届中国国际进口博览会组委会主任胡春华主持开幕式。
尊敬的王岐山副主席，尊敬的李强书记，尊敬的各国领导人、各国际组织负责人，尊敬的各国使节、各位嘉宾、理事们、先生们、朋友们，大家好！欢迎出席第4届中国国际进口博览会及虹桥国际经济论坛。我代表组委会向支持和参与进博会的各国政府、国际组织和各界朋友表示衷心的感谢，向线上线下参会的各位嘉宾表示诚挚的欢迎。在习近平主席的亲自关心和指导下，中国国际进口博览会已经举办了3届。国际采购、投资促进、人文交流、开放合作4大平台作用日益突出，成为全球共享的国际公共产品。习近平主席连续3届发表主旨演讲，今天还将通过视频发表主旨演讲。中华人民共和国副主席王岐山阁下莅临会场，出席今天开幕式并将发表视频致辞的还有阿根廷总统费尔南德斯、哈萨克斯坦总统托卡耶夫、赞比亚总统西马莱奇、意大利总理德拉吉、泰国总理巴育、斐济代总理塞努伊纳特、世界贸易组织总干事伊维拉、联合国贸易和发展会议秘书长格林斯潘。来自106个国家和国际组织的133位部级以上嘉宾线上出席今天的开幕式。有关国家驻华使节、国际组织驻华代表、各省区市和有关部委负责人、跨国公司、智库和商协会代表出席开幕式。本届进博会共有143个国家、地区和国际组织参展，展览面积和参展企业数量均超过上届。58个国家和3个国际组织参加线上国家展，来自127个国家和地区的2900多家参展商参加企业展，420多项新产品、新技术、新服务将在本届进博会上亮相。其中不少是全球首发、亚洲首秀、中国首展。博览会期间还将举办中国加入世贸组织20周年、互利共赢、共创未来高层论坛、12场分论坛和100余场配套活动，希望大家充分利用进博会平台，积极沟通交流，努力达成更多的合作成果。现在，让我们以热烈的掌声欢迎中华人民共和国主席习近平阁下发表视频主旨演讲。
尊敬的各位国家元首、政府首脑，尊敬的各位国际组织负责人，尊敬的各代表团团长，各位来宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家好！很高兴在第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕之际，同大家云端相聚。首先，我仅代表中国政府和中国人民， 并以我个人的名义向各位嘉宾表示热烈的欢迎，向各位新老朋友表示诚挚的问候和美好的祝愿。中国历来言必信，行必果。我在第3届进博会上宣布的扩大开放举措已经基本落实。海南自由贸易港跨境服务贸易负面清单已经出台，自由贸易试验区改革创新不断推进，外资准入持续放宽，营商环境继续改善，中欧投资协定谈判业已完成，区域全面经济伙伴关系协定国内核准率先完成。中国克服新冠肺炎疫情影响，推动对外贸易创新发展，是去年全球唯一实现货物贸易正增长的主要经济体，为保障全球产业链供应链稳定，推动世界经济复苏做出了重要贡献。女士们、先生们、朋友们，当前世界百年变局和世纪疫情交织，单边主义、保护主义抬头，经济全球化遭遇逆流。有关研究表明，10年来世界开放指数不断下滑，全球开放共识弱化，这值得高度关注。逆水行舟，不进则退。我们要把握经济全球化发展大势，支持世界各国扩大开放，反对单边主义、保护主义，推动人类走向更加美好的未来。开放是当代中国的鲜明标志。今年是中国加入世贸组织20周年。20年来，中国全面履行入世承诺，中国关税总水平由15.3%降至7.4%，低于9.8%的入世承诺。中国中央政府清理法律法规2300多件，地方政府清理19万多件，激发了市场和社会活力。新冠肺炎疫情发生以来，中国向国际社会提供了约3500亿只口罩，超过40亿件防护服，超过60亿人份检测试剂，超过16亿剂疫苗，积极推动国际抗疫合作，支持向发展中国家豁免疫苗知识产权，用实际行动践行承诺，展现担当。20年来，中国经济总量从世界第6位上升到第2位，货物贸易从世界第6位上升到第1位，服务贸易从世界第11位上升到第2位。利用外资稳居发展中国家首位，对外直接投资从世界第26位上升到第1位。这20年是中国深化改革、全面开放的20年，是中国把握机遇、迎接挑战的20年，是中国主动担责、造福世界的20年。 加入世界贸易组织以来，中国不断扩大开放，激活了中国发展的澎湃春潮，也激活了世界经济的一池春水。加入世界贸易组织20年来，中国的发展进步是中国人民在中国共产党坚强领导下埋头苦干、顽强奋斗取得的，也是中国主动加强国际合作、践行互利共赢的结果。在此，我愿对所有参与和见证这一历史进程、支持中国开放发展的海内外各界人士表示衷心的感谢。女士们、先生们、朋友们，渐出以知入，观往以知来。一个国家、一个民族要振兴，就必须在历史前进的逻辑中前进，在时代发展的潮流中发展。中国扩大高水平开放的决心不会变，同世界分享发展机遇的决心不会变，推动经济全球化朝着更加开放、包容、普惠、平衡、共赢方向发展的决心不会变。第一，中国将坚定不移维护真正的多边主义。以世界贸易组织为核心的多边贸易体制是国际贸易的基石。当前多边贸易体制面临诸多挑战，中国支持世界贸易组织改革朝着正确方向发展，支持多边贸易体制包容性发展，支持发展中成员合法权益。中国将以积极开放态度参与数字经济、贸易和环境、产业补贴、国有企业等议题谈判，维护多边贸易体制国际规则制定的主渠道地位，维护全球产业链、供应链稳定。第二，中国将坚定不移同世界共享市场机遇。中国有14亿多人口和4亿以上中等收入群体，每年进口商品和服务约2.5万亿美元，市场规模巨大。中国将更加注重扩大进口，促进贸易平衡发展。中国将增设进口贸易促进创新示范区，优化跨境电商、零售进口商品清单，推进边民互市贸易进口商品落地加工，增加自周边国家进口。中国将推进内外贸一体化，加快建设国际消费中心城市，发展丝路电商，构建现代物流体系，提升跨境物流能力。第三，中国将坚定不移推动高水平开放。中国将进一步缩减外资准入负面清单，有序扩大电信、医疗等服务业领域开放。中国将修订扩大鼓励外商投资产业目录，引导更多外资投向先进制造业、现代服务业、高新技术、节能环保等领域，投向中国中西部和东北地区。中国将在自由贸易试验区和海南自由贸易港做好高水平开放压力测试，出台自由贸易试验区跨境服务贸易负面清单。中国将深度参与绿色低碳、数字经济等国际合作，积极推进加入全面与进步跨太平洋伙伴关系协定、数字经济伙伴关系协定。第四， 中国将坚定不移维护世界共同利益。中国将积极参与联合国、世界贸易组织、20国集团、亚太经合组织、上海合作组织等机制合作，推动加强贸易和投资、数字经济、绿色低碳等领域议题探讨。中国将支持疫苗等关键医疗物资在全球范围内公平分配和贸易畅通。中国将推动高质量共建“一带一路”，使更多国家和人民获得发展机遇和实惠。中国将积极参与应对气候变化，维护全球粮食安全和能源安全。在南南合作框架内，继续向其他发展中国家提供更多援助。女士们、先生们、朋友们，孤举者难起，重行者易趋。新冠肺炎疫情阴霾未散，世界经济复苏前路坎坷，各国人民更需要同舟共济、共克时艰。中国愿同各国一道，共建开放型世界经济，让开放的春风温暖世界。谢谢大家。
感谢习近平主席的精彩演讲。刚才，习近平主席全面回顾了1年来中国扩大开放重大举措的落实情况，总结了20年来中国全面履行如是承诺以及经济发展和对外开放取得的成就，明确中国将坚定不移维护真正的多边主义，坚定不移同世界共享市场机遇，坚定不移推动高水平开放，坚定不移维护世界共同利益。习近平主席的重要讲话必将对推动中国同世界各国互利合作、促进全球贸易发展产生重大而深远的影响。现在请外方嘉宾致辞。
有请阿根廷总统费尔南德斯阁下致辞，请大家佩戴同传耳机。
Estimado presidente Xi, hermano pueblo de la República Popular China, quiero en primer lugar transmitirle el afectuoso y fraterno abrazo del pueblo argentino. Agradezco especialmente la invitación para participar en esta 4ª edición de la China Internacional Import Expo, espacio de intercambio y desarrollo que acerca tanto virtual como físicamente a las más importantes empresas relacionadas al comercio internacional, así como también a destacados representantes del sector público. La Argentina posee un vínculo especial con la República Popular China. Por un lado, China es un socio estratégico para mi país en términos de comercio, inversiones y financiamiento, y sabemos del enorme potencial que nuestra relación bilateral tiene, dada la amplia complementariedad entre ambas economías. Pero a su vez nos une una visión común como países en desarrollo y una fuerte relación de amistad que se ve reflejada no solo en el estatus de asociación estratégica integral que mantenemos desde el año 2014, sino también en los fructíferos casi 50 años de relaciones diplomáticas. En ese contexto, este evento, la CIE, ocupa un lugar destacado por ser una plataforma de cooperación y posicionamiento comercial estratégico de nuestras empresas en el mercado chino, y de obligada referencia para identificar las últimas tendencias en los sectores allí representados de la ciencia y la tecnología, equipamiento, comercio de servicios, alimentación y bebidas, entre muchos otros. En estos tiempos tan particulares para el mundo entero, debemos saludar con agrado la creciente recuperación del comercio internacional y realizar nuestros mayores esfuerzos para lograr un comercio más abierto, más justo y también más equilibrado, que nos acerque a un mundo en el que nadie quede atrás. Para ello, será imprescindible abordar el comercio internacional desde una perspectiva donde todos ganen, ganar y ganar, considerando nuestras fortalezas y nuestros desafíos. La Argentina y China ya han emprendido este camino, como puede corroborarse en el fuerte crecimiento del comercio entre ambas naciones. China es desde hace más de una década el segundo socio comercial de mi país, e incluso el primero durante algunos meses en 2019 y en 2020. También, desde el gobierno argentino hemos buscado, y lo hemos logrado, fortalecer el carácter federal de las exportaciones argentinas, generando una mayor participación de las empresas y las provincias, tanto en la balanza comercial como en la participación en diversas actividades y ferias comerciales, como puede verse, por ejemplo, en los variados orígenes que tienen las empresas argentinas que están participando precisamente en esta edición de la CIE. En tal sentido, la República Popular China ha sido un gran aliado para promover esta sinergia federal, ya que la potencia de sus propias provincias nos permitió incrementar la participación en las ferias provinciales chinas, a la vez que se profundizaron los lazos entre las unidades subnacionales de ambos países. Por otro lado, el desarrollo de nuevas tecnologías y las mejoras de conectividad han dado un gran respaldo al comercio electrónico, que sin duda ha sido un aliado fundamental para las empresas y los consumidores de todo el mundo durante estos difíciles tiempos de pandemia. Este comercio electrónico, en el que China posee un papel destacado, no solo ha permitido acercar una mayor oferta de bienes y servicios a todos los rincones del mundo, sino que también ha posibilitado la participación de numerosas y diversas pequeñas y medianas empresas. En el caso de la Argentina, muchas pequeñas y medianas empresas que ya exportaban sus productos a China han aprovechado las ventajas del comercio electrónico para difundir aún más sus productos y llegar a nuevos consumidores. Otras, sin exportaciones previas a China, han realizado sus primeras exportaciones a ese mercado gracias al esfuerzo conjunto del gobierno argentino, las y los productores y las facilidades de las nuevas tecnologías. Quisiera destacar en este sentido que no solo la forma de comerciar ha cambiado debido a las nuevas tecnologías, sino que también ha cambiado lo que se comercia al incrementarse el peso del comercio de servicios en las balanzas comerciales, al desdibujarse las líneas tradicionales entre estos y la agricultura y las manufacturas industriales. Por su parte, la Argentina viene aumentando y promoviendo la participación de empresas tecnológicas nacionales en el mercado chino, contando este año con la mayor cantidad de empresas tecnológicas inscritas en ferias e iniciativas comerciales en China. A modo de ejemplo, solo basta con observar los grandes exponentes argentinos de, entre otras, las industrias de servicios basadas en conocimiento, biotecnología, agrotecnología, que se encuentran en esta edición de la CIE, así como la que han participado en la pasada CIFTIS, ofreciendo servicios innovadores en tecnología aeroespacial, energética, turismo, deporte, industrias creativas e industrias culturales también. En todos estos campos que he mencionado, la Argentina y China ya encuentran un lugar de cooperación. Y estoy seguro que el futuro solo traerá una mayor unión y beneficio mutuo para nuestros países. Los invito entonces a recorrer nuestro stand institucional y conocer más sobre las múltiples oportunidades que tenemos para avanzar en la concreción de nuestros objetivos compartidos. Una vez más, vaya mi fraternal saludo para las autoridades y el pueblo chino. Muchísimas gracias.
感谢费尔南德斯总统。下面有请哈萨克斯坦总统托卡耶夫阁下致辞。
Құрметті төраға Си Цзиньпин мырза, қадірлі көрмеге қатысушылар, ханымдар мен мырзалар, баршаңызды 4-ші Қытай халықаралық импорт көрмесінің ашылуымен құттықтаймын. Биыл біздің достас халықтарымыз өз тарихындағы маңызды белеске жетті. Қазақстан тәуелсіздігіне 30 жыл. Қытай коммунистік партиясының құрылғанына 100 жыл. Сондай-ақ 2 айдан кейін тағы бір айтулы оқиғаны атап өтеміз. Қазақстан мен Қытайдың арасында дипломатиялық қатынас орнағанына 30 жыл толады. Мен бүгін біздің жан-жақты әрі мәңгілік стратегиялық серіктестігіміз кемелденіп, жаңа кезеңге қадам басты деп нық сеніммен айта аламын. Қарқынды дамып келе жатқан Қытай елі әрдайым Азиядағы ең басты және сенімді серіктесіміз болып қала береді. Өзара тиімді екіжақты ынтымақтастық кең байтақ Еуразия құрлығында бірлесе даму мен өркендеуге жол ашып отыр. Сауда-экономикалық қатынастар ықпалдастығымыздың берік іргетасы. Алдағы кезеңде солай бола бермек. Қиындыққа қарамастан күрделі 2020 жылдың өзінде екіжақты тауар айналымы 5%-ға өсіп 15 миллиард доллардан асты. Өзгерістер желі соққанда біреулер қабырға тұрғызады, енді біреулер жел диірмен салады деген көне Қытай нақылы бар. Пандемияға байланысты Қазақстан-Қытай шекарасына енгізілген уақытша шектеу шаралары тезірек аяқталып, алыс-беріс қайтадан жандана түседі деп сенемін. Сауда-саттық әрдайым өркендеудің және халықаралық ынтымақтастықтың басты қозғаушы күші саналады. Бұл қағидат ғасырлар бойы Ұлы Жібек жолының бойында орналасқан біздің өңір үшінде аса маңызды. Осы ежелгі сауда жолы төраға Си Цзиньпиннің белдеулер мен жолдар атты ауқымды бастамасының арқасында қайта жаңғырды. Қазір жыл сайын Қытайдан Еуропаға Қазақстан аумағы арқылы 500 мыңнан астам контейнер тасымалданады. Құрық теңіз айлағы іске қосылғаннан кейін Ляньюнган-Карс тасымал дәлізімен Қорғастан Стамбулға жүк жеткізу мерзімі 5 есеге, яғни 60 күннен 13 күнге дейін қысқарды. Біз Қорғастан бөлек бірқатар көршілес елдермен жаңа шекара аралық хаб құрып жатырмыз. Өкінішке қарай, бүкіл әлемді шарпыған коронавирус індеті жаһандық сауда желісінің жұмысына айтарлықтай нұқсан келтірді. Қазақстан тұрақты транзиттік тасымал бағдарын нығайтып, сондай-ақ оны әр тараптандырып, инновациялық логистикалық әдіс тәсілдерді енгізу үшін барлық мүдделі тараппен тығыз жұмыс жүргізе береді. Құрметті ханымдар мен мырзалар, бүгін есігін айқара ашқан Қытай халықаралық импорт көрмесі шын мәнінде дүние жүзінің әр түкпіріндегі экспортшыларды ұйыстыратын орталыққа айналды. Осы маңызды шараға 120-дан астам мемлекеттен тауар өндірушілер жиналып отыр. Бұл Шанхай көрмесі Қытайдағы алып нарыққа кіретін алтын қақпа екенін айқын көрсетті. Осы көрмеге Қазақстаннан 30 ірі өнім өндіруші қатысуда. Олар жалпы құны 100 миллион доллардан асатын азық түлік және ауыл шаруашылығы өнімдерін сатуға келісім шарт жасайды деп жоспарланып отыр. Дегенмен, өзара тиімді сауданың орасан зор әлеуеті бұл көрсеткішпен ғана өлшенбейді. Біздің елдеріміз тауарлардың алыс берісін әлдеқайда ұлғайта алады. Бұған толық мүмкіндік бар. Осы ретте Қазақстанның стратегиялық басымдықтары мен Қытайдың қосарланған айналым стратегиясы аясында жобаларды ұштастыру үшін ықпалдасуға дайынбыз. бұл міндетті орындауға қажетті мызғымас институционалдық негіз қаланған. Ең бастысы, жоғары деңгейдегі саяси ерік жігеріміз бар. Біз күш қуатымызды жұмылдырып, кез келген мәселені бірлесе талқылай отырып, өзара тиімді ынтымақтастық орнату қағидаттарын берік ұстанамыз. Сол арқылы баршаға ортақ өркендеген әлемге жол ашамыз. Мен бұған кәміл сенемін. Сөз соңында Шанхай көрмесіне қатысушылардың жұмысына табыс тілеймін. Өзара тиімді сауда байланыстарының көкжиегі кеңе берсін. Назарыңызға рахмет.
感谢托卡耶夫总统。下面有请赞比亚总统希奇莱马阁下致辞。
Your Excellencies, it is with great honor and privilege that I join you at this year's China International Import Expo. First and foremost, I would like to thank the government of the People's Republic of China for the invitation to speak at this auspicious event. Zambia and China share historical relations dating back to the liberation struggle and construction of the Tazara Railway. We owe it to our founding fathers, Chairman Mao and Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, for the inspirational wisdom that laid the foundation for these existing relations, benefiting or befitting of the term all-weather friends. I therefore wish to acknowledge the support received from China in a variety of social-economic areas and look forward to enhanced cooperation going forward in areas such as trade and investment, considering the potential that exists between our two countries. I therefore wish to commend the government of the People's Republic of China for successfully organizing this expo, which provides a platform to foster trade and investment linkages. Zambia considers this expo essential for the unique platform it provides to participants and visitors to share trade and investment information. Your Excellencies, China and Zambia have been partnering in a number of projects that are important for the development of our country in key sectors such as energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing, amongst others. China continues to be Zambia's second largest trading partner, with exports to China in 2020 exceeding $1.5 billion, and imports amounting to $2.4 billion in 2020. During this period, Zambia's main exports to China have been minerals, tobacco, and cotton, whereas China's main export to Zambia included broadcasting services equipment, agricultural, construction, and items such as tractors, iron structures, generating sets, equipment for grinding and crushing materials, and pneumatic tires. It is our government's intention to narrow the trade gap by increasing Zambia's exports to China. Zambia is therefore excited to be part of this fourth China International Import Expo, which is focused on promoting trade and investment. The focus of the expo resonates well with the development agenda of my government. It is my hope that this expo will draw like-minded entrepreneurs and investors towards these important goals of the expo, and that the process will open up new areas for trade and economic cooperation between our two countries and indeed other participating countries. Zambia looks forward to this year's expo to take our trade relationship with China to greater heights by partnering in ventures that will focus on value addition to our natural resources, technology, ventures, and skills transfer to facilitate and allow more finished and semi-processed products to be imported into China. Your Excellencies, I cannot overemphasize the existence of an abundance of natural resources with respect to their high quality and relatively wide variety that should attract quality investments and trade to Zambia. These include mineral resources, of metals such as copper, cobalt, zinc, lead, and gold, precious stones such as emeralds. Zambia holds approximately 6% of the world's total copper deposits. Abundant water sources. Zambia is estimated to have 40% of fresh water in the sub-Saharan region. Vast arable land resource base of 42 million hectares, of which only 1.5 million hectares is cultivated every year. Access and proximity to the strategic and large markets of the economic and trade blocs, such as the Common Market for Southern and East African countries, COMESA, Southern African Development Community, SADC, and more recently, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, providing a regional market of 1.2 billion people with an estimated $3 trillion in combined gross domestic product. Available youthful, skilled, and hard-working human resources, and most of all, a peaceful and politically stable economy with no record of civil wars since we attained our independence many years back. Your Excellencies, I would therefore like to take this opportunity to extend an invitation to all international delegates and investors that are present here to come to Zambia and explore the trade and investment opportunities that our country has to offer across all sectors. It is my hope that after the expo, a number of investors will seize the opportunity offered by Zambia and its conducive business environment. Lastly, but not the least, on behalf of the Zambian people, and indeed on my own behalf, I would like to once again thank the government of the People's Republic of China for inviting us to be part of this important expo. We are indeed very grateful to be part of this international event, which provides a platform and greater opportunities for companies from developing countries like Zambia to promote their products and services to the global market. Let me conclude by reaffirming Zambia's commitment towards a mutual partnership between Zambia and China. I thank you. Session.
感谢西西莱马总统。下面有请意大利总理德拉吉阁下致辞。
President Xi, esteemed colleagues, honored guests, it is a great pleasure to address you today at the opening ceremony of the 4th edition of the China International Import-Export in Shanghai. The exposition is one of the biggest trade promotion events in China and in the world. It embodies your country's commitment to international trade, as witnessed by the large number of companies involved. Italy's businesses are present in large numbers. More than 100 are here. The Italian national pavilions focus on beauty, fashion, and on cutting-edge technology in healthcare, life sciences, and the environment. They showcase human creativity and ingenuity, the main themes of this exposition. Global trade is one of the most important engines of the global recovery. It has picked up strongly after slowing down considerably during the initial phase of the pandemic. The strong commercial relationship between Italy and China shows this rebound clearly. In the first 6 months of 2021, Italy's exports to China were worth 7.8 billion, a 20.8% increase compared to the first semester of 2019 before the health crisis. And imports from China were roughly 17.5 billion, 12.8% higher than before the start of the pandemic. Trade should be free and fair. We must preserve a level playing field and promote an open multilateral trade system based on the principles of the World Trade Organization. Transparency, reciprocity, inclusivity, and sustainability benefit both consumers and producers, importers and exporters. The Expo can play an important role in fostering a more sustainable and inclusive recovery. Trade should be at the service of people, not the other way around. We must never lose sight of our guiding values, principles, and standards. They have been at the core of Italy's G20 presidency and of our partnership with the United Kingdom for the COP26, and we thank China for its support. The free circulation of goods and services is an essential step towards a full recovery. I hope it will soon be followed by the gradual reopening of borders to allow the free circulation of people. I wish you a successful Expo. Thank you.
感谢德拉吉总理。下面有请泰国总理巴育阁下致辞。
ท่านประธานาธิบดีสีจิ้นผิงผู้แทนภาครัฐและภาคเอกชนจากประเทศต่างๆแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านต้าเจียหวานช่างเห่าสวัสดีครับก่อนอื่นผมขอแสดงความยินดีในโอกาสครบรอบ100 ปีการก่อตั้งพรรคคอมมิวนิสต์จีนและขอเป็นกำลังใจให้ท่านประธานาธิบดีสีจิ้นผิงและรัฐบาลจีนประสบความสำเร็จในการสร้าง Common Prosperity ตามเป้าหมายที่วางไว้ประเทศไทยสนับสนุนการจัดงาน CIIE มาตลอดโดยเข้าร่วมงานทั้ง4ครั้งและครั้งนี้ในนามของรัฐบาลไทยผมรู้สึกยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่งที่ได้เข้าร่วมในพิธีเปิดงานแสดงสินค้าที่มีความสำคัญระดับโลกในครั้งนี้งาน CIIE นอกจากจะเป็นงานที่รวบรวมผู้ค้าจากทั่วโลกแล้วยังเป็นพันธสัญญาที่แสดงถึงเจตนารมณ์อันแน่วแน่ในการเปิดเสรีและการสร้างสมดุลทางการค้าระหว่างจีนกับทั่วโลกไม่ว่าจะต้องเผชิญกับความท้าทายใดๆก็ตามดังคำมั่นสัญญาของท่านประธานาธิบดีสีจิ้นผิงเมื่อครั้งเปิดงาน CIIE ปีที่ผ่านมาว่าจะทำให้ตลาดจีนเป็นตลาดโลกเป็นตลาดที่เอื้อประโยชน์ทุกฝ่ายและเป็นตลาดของทุกคนการร่วมงาน CIIE จึงไม่เพียงเสริมสร้างความสัมพันธ์ทางการค้าระหว่างไทยกับจีนแต่ยังเปิดโอกาสให้ผู้ประกอบการไทยได้พบกับผู้ค้าทั่วโลกรวมถึงได้ศึกษาเทรนด์การค้าโลกในอนาคตอีกด้วยงาน CIIE ในปีนี้ประเทศไทยโดยกระทรวงพาณิชย์ได้นำสินค้ากลุ่มอาหารและเครื่องดื่มมาแนะนำให้พี่น้องชาวจีนได้รู้จักเพิ่มมากขึ้นอุตสาหกรรมอาหารของเรามีความโดดเด่นและหลากหลายปัจจุบันไทยเป็นผู้ส่งออกอาหารและสินค้าเกษตรรายใหญ่ลำดับต้นของโลกโดยรัฐบาลไทยให้ความสำคัญและส่งเสริมการใช้นวัตกรรมเพื่อยกระดับอุตสาหกรรมอาหารให้ดียิ่งขึ้นทั้งในด้านคุณภาพและความปลอดภัยตามแนวทางของโมเดลเศรษฐกิจ BCG เพื่อส่งมอบสิ่งที่ดีที่สุดให้กับผู้บริโภคทั่วโลกนอกจากนี้หากท่านเคยเดินทางมาประเทศไทยคงทราบดีว่าหนึ่งในเอกลักษณ์ของอาหารไทยคือสตรีทฟู้ดซึ่งได้รับความนิยมอย่างแพร่หลายทั้งชาวไทยและชาวต่างประเทศในด้านรสชาติราคาและคุณภาพในฐานะที่จีนเป็นคู่ค้าอันดับหนึ่งของไทยมายาวนานผมปรารถนาที่เห็นไทยและจีนมีความร่วมมือที่ใกล้ชิดยิ่งขึ้นในทุกมิติบนพื้นฐานของผลประโยชน์ร่วมกันในหลายปีที่ผ่านมาเราได้ทุ่มเททรัพยากรเพื่อให้ EEC เป็นหนึ่งในสะพานเชื่อมระหว่างอาเซียนกับ BRI ของจีนซึ่งผมหวังว่าจะช่วยเศรษฐกิจของทั้งสองประเทศเติบโตอย่างสมดุลยั่งยืนและครอบคลุมในทุกด้านผมขอขอบคุณรัฐบาลจีนที่ได้เปิดด่านนำเข้าผลไม้จากไทยและอาเซียนเพิ่มและหวังว่าจะมีเพิ่มขึ้นอีกในอนาคตเพราะนอกจากจะเป็นการสร้างรายได้ให้กับเกษตรกรไทยแล้วผู้บริโภคชาวจีนยังได้มีโอกาสลิ้มรสผลไม้สดจากไทยอีกด้วยซึ่งถือเป็นหนึ่งในตัวอย่างของความสำเร็จในการสร้างผลประโยชน์ร่วมกันอย่างเป็นรูปธรรมผมเชื่อว่า ไทยและจีนยังสามารถขยายและพัฒนาความร่วมมือระหว่างกันได้อีกมากโดยไทยพร้อมที่จะแสวงหาลู่ทางและโอกาสใหม่ๆเพื่อยกระดับความร่วมมือระหว่างกันต่อไปขณะนี้ประเทศไทยอยู่ระหว่างการฟื้นฟูเศรษฐกิจและสังคมเพื่อนำไปสู่การพลิกโฉมประเทศอย่างรอบด้านโดยแรงขับเคลื่อนหนึ่งที่ทำให้ไทยสามารถดำเนินการในเรื่องดังกล่าวอย่างเป็นขั้นเป็นตอนได้ก็คือการได้รับความช่วยเหลือจากจีนทั้งในเรื่องวัคซีนยาและเวชภัณฑ์เพื่อใช้ต่อสู้กับการแพร่ระบาดของโควิดในระยะที่ผ่านมาดังนั้นผมขอใช้โอกาสนี้ขอบคุณรัฐบาลและประชาชนจีนอีกครั้งหนึ่งและรอที่จะต้อนรับพี่น้องชาวจีนที่ประเทศไทยในเร็ววันสุดท้ายนี้ผมขออวยพรให้ทุกท่านมีสุขภาพแข็งแรงและขอให้งาน CIIE ประสบความสำเร็จยิ่งขึ้นในทุกๆปีเพื่อเป็นวิธีหลักทางการค้าระหว่างไทยจีนและกับประชาคมโลกต่อไปขอบคุณครับเชียร์
感谢巴育总理。下面有请斐济代理总理塞鲁伊拉图阁下致辞。
Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, heads of state and government, heads of international organizations, heads of delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Nisambul Binaka, Ni Hao. I am delighted today to join other leaders and captains of industry to express my support for a truly amazing event, the 4th China International Import Expo, that brings together nearly 3,000 enterprises from 127 countries from November 5th to the 10th. Excellency, the sheer size and scope of the online event indicates the leading place of Chinese businesses on a global stage. I wish your government and the Expo organizers all the best for the success of such important and strategic event. Despite not being able to meet in person, I thank the Chinese government for the containment protocols that have provided global leaders an opportunity to participate virtually. The hosting of this expo in the midst of a pandemic highlights China's resolve to share its market opportunities and contribute to global economic recovery. Fiji is grateful to China in this regard and looks forward to capitalize on this platform for a robust exchange of ideas. Fiji has been participating at the China International Import Expo since its inception in 2018, and last year was able to launch the Fiji Import Pavilion at the Global Commodity Hub, the G-Hub, in Shanghai to echo the concept of 365+7 promoted by the Chinese government. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the restoration of cross-border trade and investment is vital to the global economic recovery. A return to trade and investment-led growth will hinge on creating enabling conditions for businesses to thrive. Excellencies, border closures and disruption are a problem and hamper the determination we have to make Fiji the ideal investment destination. Despite these challenges, we have expedited reforms to make Fiji a competitive and preferred trade and investment destination. We also need to look beyond the disruptions to supply chain and ensure that trade of products and services return to pre-COVID status to facilitate recovery of income for those that have lost their jobs and income. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, given the challenges ahead, we have embraced the important reality that it is no longer business as usual. Accordingly, we are looking towards China and our development partners to create the right opportunities for our businesses and people. We are witnessing a dramatic growth in the use of digital technologies that have proven extremely useful for our businesses, helping them to respond nimbly to the severe disruption caused by COVID-19. In Fiji, This has allowed businesses to develop a new business continuity plans and reorganize themselves better. Platforms such as the China International Import Expo have enabled established businesses to access markets even without having a physical presence. The digital country pavilions will enable countries like Fiji to actively participate in the China International Import Expo. The establishment of the Fijian Virtual Country Pavilion will serve as a multi-purpose platform to promote and give a comprehensive image of Fiji as an ideal destination for investment and holidays as well. As a producer of pristine, unique products, China International Import Expo will be the first major platform to promote Fijian tourism with border reopening in sight. Indeed, it is through such forms of digital platforms that economic recovery can be achieved by nations like Fiji. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has not been exempt from the impacts of COVID-19. Prior to the pandemic, Fiji exhibited an average of 3.2% consecutive growth for an entire decade. The Fijian economy declined by 15.5% following the first wave of the pandemic in 2020. It is forecasted to contract by 4.1% this year. These challenges have doubly strengthened our resolve to rebuild better and stronger, rebuild a resilient and robust economy which will rise to its full potential. Our long-term sustainability is dependent on our ability to adapt and recreate our economies. In this, the Fijian government, through our 2021-2022 national budget, has implemented initiatives and programs with specific focus on a creative economy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the move towards a digital economy has become more critical now than ever before. The extreme disruption caused by the pandemic has pushed businesses to embrace cutting-edge technology. It has made businesses more resilient. Engaging in digital technologies and digital commerce will also assist the region in achieving a Blue Pacific. We will be able to harness new economic opportunities that will allow for cleaner technologies, which will contribute to our vision for a resilient Blue Pacific continent. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that e-commerce is critical for international trade. It is transforming the way in which the world trades. Thus, digital uptake has enabled businesses to respond quickly to the extreme disruption and permitted them to foster new business designs and better position themselves for resilience. Fiji has been leveraging over 2 decades of investment in ICT infrastructure, and it is ideally located as the hub for transportation routes within the Pacific. This complements our efforts of business reforms that have not only promoted competition amongst telecom operators, but created a conducive environment for e-commerce to grow. Fijian businesses and consumers that were able to go digital have helped mitigate further economic downturn. The Fijian government reiterates its commitment to ensuring tourism remains a pillar for socio-economic prosperity, sustainable development, and most importantly, inclusivity. We acknowledge the commitment towards the Sustainable Development Goals and its unique ability to ensuring that nobody is left behind, especially during these very challenging times. As we prepare for reopening, we reaffirm our collective commitment as a nation to build back better, stimulate decent jobs, and transform to a greener economy. In closing, I wish the organizers and all participants the very best in this year's 4th China International Import Expo. Vinawalevu, Sheshe.
感谢塞鲁伊拉图阁下。下面有请世界贸易组织总干事伊维拉女士致辞。
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed an honor and a pleasure to take part in this opening ceremony. I would like to thank President Xi for his leadership in organizing the China International Import Expo, now in its 4th edition. I'm happy that the World Trade Organization continues to be a partner in this important event. This year's expo puts the emphasis on economic recovery and growth. Trade and multilateral cooperation both have critical roles to play in the recovery. Our connected global economy has made the world more vulnerable to shocks, transport disruptions, supply chain breakdowns, pandemic knock-on effects. At the same time, globalized markets have made the world economy more resilient, for instance, by allowing domestic production shortages of food or medical supplies to be addressed through trade. China is well placed to recognize the value of open international markets. China's economic rise, made possible in part by its membership in the WTO, has raised incomes and lifted millions out of poverty, not only in China, but also in China's trading partners in the developing world. In 2000, China accounted for 3.9% of world exports and 3.4% of world imports. By 2020, despite the pandemic, these shares had risen to 14.7% and 11.5% respectively. In purchasing parity terms, per capita incomes grew from $3,400 in 2000 to $16,200 last year, and extreme poverty has essentially been eliminated. China has successfully positioned itself at the core of many global value chains. These production and trade networks have not only provided a lifeline for many countries during the pandemic, they have also increased the quantity, quality, and variety of goods available around the world. This year marks the 20th anniversary of China's membership of the WTO. Bringing China into an organization premised on rules and adjudication represented a paradigm shift for the country. For the rest of the world, it held the promise of more predictable and mutually beneficial trading relations. Looking back, China's achievements have exceeded the expectations of many. Today, China plays a central role in global trade, and trade has become essential to China's economy. With the benefit of hindsight, China's WTO accession could be seen as the completion of the largest trading bridge between China and the West since Marco Polo's expeditions in the 13th century. There are many questions about the long-term trajectory of the WTO and about what WTO members, including China, can do to revive growth and address the multifaceted challenges of the day. A common WTO response to the pandemic and to other pressing global issues is of vital interest to all. The WTO can make an important contribution through ongoing work on fisheries subsidies and on the nexus between trade and health. I hope that we will collectively be able to rise to the challenge and deliver the results that are expected of us. The 4th China International Import Expo is a testament to China's determination to show leadership and play an active part in the global recovery effort. Trade is indeed a vital piece of the puzzle. I count on China's support and contribution as we look to revitalize the multilateral trading system and deliver credible results for people and the planet in the 21st century. Thank you.
感谢伊维拉女士。下面有请联合国贸易和发展会议秘书长格林斯潘女士致辞。
Your Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to address you in this very important ceremony, which marks the 20th anniversary of China's accession to the World Trade Organization. As Secretary General of UNCTAD, I share today's spirit of celebration. China's accession to the WTO was great news for China, but also great news for the world. These 2 decades have brought unprecedented economic prosperity to millions of people around the globe. Indeed, it is no exaggeration to say that these have been the best 2 decades for poverty alleviation in the history of mankind. China, in these 20 years, have given us a great example of how nations can develop through trade. This, as you well know, is a central mandate of UNCTAD, the UN Conference on Trade and Development. I therefore speak from experience when I say that what China has done in these 20 years is no easy feat at all. Channeling commerce towards prosperity, controlling volatility, building up resilient infrastructure. These are but a few of the challenges China has overcome in its recent history. And this has taken great efforts, great responsibility, and great leadership. I therefore take this opportunity to not only celebrate, but also congratulate the Chinese people and their leaders. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the world has changed greatly in these 20 years, but especially in the last 2 years. The COVID-19 pandemic has done untold damage to millions of people around the world, especially in developing countries. Making matters worse, we are now witnessing a very uneven recovery from this crisis, a recovery that is leaving behind those who were already suffering the most, and with it is making us all more fragile. The world needs solidarity and multilateralism more than ever. President Xi proposed the Global Development Initiative last month at the UN General Assembly. In it, His Excellency highlighted the fact that many developing countries are currently lacking vaccines, food, financial resources, long-term investments, and sustainable infrastructure, among others. As the largest developing country in the world, China understands these global inequalities and is uniquely positioned to champion them. I therefore take this opportunity to offer UNCTAD's continued support to the Chinese nation in its efforts towards a more inclusive and sustainable global recovery. I wish you 20 more years of success, and I thank you.
感谢格林斯潘女士。下面有请胡春华副总理继续主持开幕式。
感谢各国领导人和各位国际组织负责人的精彩致辞。刚才各位嘉宾就共同应对全球性挑战、深化全球开放合作、促进国际贸易发展等议题发表了很多真知灼见，提出了很多建设性意见，对于开好本次虹桥国际经济论坛、促进各国互利合作具有十分重要的意义。现在有请中华人民共和国副主席王岐山阁下宣布第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕。
布第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕。
第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕式到此结束，让我们欢送王岐山副主席和其他贵宾离场。